Alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, we send salutations upon Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Continuing with the probe, prior to embarkation and arriving, finally at the living room of Sheikh Abdul Ahad, the third Khalifa of Touba. He was preceded by the second Khalifa, Sidi Muhammad al-Fadil, and Sidi Muhammad al-Mustafa, who was the first Khalifa of Touba, after, of course, the founder of Touba, Sheikh Ahmad al-Bamba himself. We did mention that Gainde Mustafa, which means Lion Mustafa, was married to Malika Ma'un Muhammad Abdurrahman Sr. So Abdurrahman is what she was later known for, but she is Malika Ma'un Muhammad. Malika Ma'un Muhammad was married to Gainde Mustafa, who is the son of Sidi Sheikh, and Sidi Sheikh is the son of Muhammad Mustafa, the first Khalifa of Touba, and that is the son of Sidi Touba, Sheikh Ahmad al-Bamba. Sheikh Ahmad al-Bamba also lineage goes into the Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's family lineage. He is a descendant of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. To proceed, also there was a very important medical and also a very important incident prior to embarkation. We did mention some recitations of the Quran at the very early age of 3. There are narrations which can definitely be cited in Africa, where later on we will go into more depth. That is a 12-year in Africa, which was the mission to establish the understanding and the practice of Quranic education, and to return to America and to assist with the social structure of the United States by the means of the Quran. So this was Mother's vision. To also mention in reference to the second incident, Falak Abdul Fattah Muhammad was the oldest, and at one point there's a story which goes that he was told to go to bed when he was about, he had to be about 6 or 7 at the time, and he refused, and so he stayed, watching TV or whatever he was doing, and then the younger of them, which was the baby at the time, went and grabbed a hammer and came back and let him have it on the head. There is that incident. There is also the incident where on a fishing expedition, Rashid rahimahullah al-Lubnani, he was throwing if I'm not mistaken, he was fishing, so he was throwing his rod into the river or wherever, the sea or what have you, and it grabbed onto the ear of the younger one, Muhammad Abdul Fattah. So these incidents also are going to keep popping up as we realize. There's also a very important medical history or medical sighting. That is that Muhammad Abdul Fattah at the time was asthmatic. So he had asthma. He showed at the various treatment centers back then. We do not have all those. However, in Africa, he will be cited for the asthmatic situation again, so we will proceed with that as well. Now, Mother definitely tried, again, with the entertainment. We mentioned Lion of the Desert, the different parts that she liked about it, different parts that she did not know about it. How all of that played out was, yes, it did embed a warrior into at least the minds, we can say. And the the sensation of ambassadorship or emissary mission. So there was that. There were parts in the very first part of the message. We saw the three that were going out. So that was there. And of course, at the end, we actually saw them dressed up again. When we look at, the long-term effect of that, well, it goes so many and so deep. So we will practically leave that one there. However, at Lion of the Desert, when you find out that it was 2,000 of Sayyid Umar Mukhtar's, his little band of brothers, who are fighting for over 22 years, a superior force, 300,000 when they first came. You say, wow, that's really, really, really intriguing, especially if, you somehow understood that one can graduate or leave a Quranic school and go directly into the battlefield. And that's what Ismail did. So there we had it. We also mentioned that with this lineage came a spiritual impact or a spiritual element. That was because of the stories of Sheikh Ahmadu Bamba himself, such as being put into the oven and surviving that, along with so many other attempts. We will get to that somehow. But those were mentioned to us prior to that. The Voices of Jannah, we are still working on the songs in which Mother had. So that also could be something that we would get back to. However, it's been recently, and when I say recently, possibly back end of last year, that the tone itself is what we actually have currently with the recitation. Allah Ta'ala knows best, but the tone is what we remember it to be. So that tone, if anybody's wondering, that's where it comes from. It comes all the way back from the Voices of Jannah, 1980, 82, 81, when performing in Brooklyn, New York, and possibly Manhattan. What we want to also make sure that everybody understands is that this is a fact-finding mission endorsed by the junta for the People's Republic of La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, to understand the roots of the Quranic revolution of Ramadan 2021. Anything that is of genuine concern or of genuine feedback, we definitely and most certainly welcome it. We also encourage everyone to remain very, very diligent in terms of the outlets in which they are currently involved in, because to be completely honest and clear about the situation, if anyone happens to learn the truth and know that it is true, they have a responsibility to stand for the truth. That means they must either endorse it or they must repeat it in a very credible manner. We will move on to that as to what that announcement is referring to. However, proceeding with the probe and the arrival at the Khalifa Shah Abdul Ahad Mbakke's house compound, and we talked last time about what the condition was at his compound at the time. We mentioned that it really was a pleasant time. I remember it rained a few times. We were quite comfortable. They had air conditioning, and that is where the asthmatic situation began to also take place. There was certain syrups or medicines that were brought in order to calm down such asthmatic attacks. However, they were noticed as being so. When the secretary AKF Abdul Karim Fal. When he arrived, it was late in the evening. I cannot exactly specify how late or early in the morning it was. However, when he arrived, we already had our bags packed, and we left with him. I remember he walked into the room, and we were there sitting with our bags, and Sheikh Abdul Ahad was also there, and he pointed to us. He was in a different side of the rooms, big rooms. They always have big rooms where, people are waiting for them in the corner, in the distant side or the opposite side of the room, for a gesture from them. But so that was the second of 3 times. There was one other time, again, it was raining, and we happened to be outside kicking our ball, the ball that we, would go back and forth on the missions with the peacock, if you remember that video, where we set up missions, who's going to get the ball from underneath the peacock. It was the same ball, so we were kicking it around. And he happened to walk in that area of the compound, and we were kicking the ball. And he walked up to the ball, and this is, someone, with his full dress on. He has on his complete turban. He has on, his glasses. He has on his actual line of clothing, his complete actual line of clothes. He has a line of clothes named Bailad, and he's wearing it. He's wearing this, and he's also with his big books, as everybody, knew him to walk around with his big Qasida Quran books. And he walks up to the ball, and he looks at all of us, and we all look at him. It's like, subhanAllah, like, which one of you is going to try to complete the mission on this one? and he's alone, by the way. He's alone. So he looked at all of us, and we looked at him, and he just kicked the ball, and he kept on walking. and we just all ran together happily. Not towards him, of course. He's known as, he has quite a few titles. So it was quite a scene. It was also quite a memory. So we are taken from Touba. We leave Touba about, some late hour in the night, and we arrive in Dakar some late hour in the night. And when we get there, we had been half asleep. Youngsters as us, we are put into a living room, and we open a dialogue of our own as we sit next to each other, chair to chair, and across from possibly our future mother-to-be. Inshallah, we'll continue from here with a probe onto the roots of the Quranic revolution of 2021. Muhammad Abdul Fattah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ala kulli man ittaba al-huda wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen. And we send salutation and blessings upon everyone, blessings and salutation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We beseech him to send his blessing and salutation upon all those who are seeking for the correct way in which he has prescribed. In the last of our sayings is all praises are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one and only creator of this entire universe. Wassalam.